I had no idea you were keeping so much to yourself. We're married, so we should share everything. Hiding things from me while acting superior is even worse. My husband and mother-in-law spoke as if they were right, and it disgusted me. I decided to face them with the truth. By the way, have you looked at whose name is on the documents? My name is Lillian, and I'm 42 years old. I've been married for 17 years. Before marriage, I worked at a company but left my job to work part-time at a supermarket after getting married. I met my husband, Easton, at work, and at first, I thought he was kind and normal. That changed about 6 months into our marriage. One evening, while I was making dinner, my mother-in-law suddenly showed up unannounced. Easton wasn't home yet, so I assumed something urgent had brought her over and let her in. The moment she saw the living room, she sighed loudly. "Lillian, are you just sitting around watching TV at this hour? Easton is working hard and sweating at his job. Don't you feel guilty?" I had been making dinner but had paused to watch TV for a moment. I explained that I'd done my housework in the morning, worked part-time, shopped, and was now preparing dinner. Despite feeling irritated, I politely apologized. She scoffed dramatically and went into the kitchen. Then she started criticizing dinner. "Is this all you're making for Easton? He works so hard, and this is what you give him? Curry and salad? Half-hearted meals like this? What did you even learn at home?" Her comment about my upbringing hurt me deeply. Frustrated, I asked, "Did you need something?" She looked surprised and said, "Oh my, don't get angry just because I pointed out dinner." Then she pouted and sat heavily on the sofa to watch TV. When I asked again, "What do you need?" she snapped back, "That's not how you treat your mother-in-law. Shouldn't you offer me something? Tea, perhaps? You're so inconsiderate. Poor Easton, having to deal with you." She kept repeating, "Poor Easton," like it was her mantra. I made her tea, but she complained about everything, even saying the tea tasted cheap. At the time, I was young and didn't want to argue with my husband's mother, thinking I should be considerate. However, because neither my husband nor I said anything, she started visiting more often. Each time, she complained about my cleaning, called me lazy, and criticized how I managed the house. Her constant criticism wore me down, and I decided to talk to my husband about it. "Can you ask your mom to visit less often?" I asked him. "Why, does it bother you that much when she comes over?" He replied. "You've seen it. No matter how much I clean or cook, your mom always complains about me." "Well, mom just wants you to work harder, Lillian. That's why she's strict with you," he said dismissively. "I'm doing my best, but when she shows up unannounced, I can't even prepare dinner properly," I explained. "If it bothers you, tell her yourself, but remember, mom cares about us too," he replied, showing no concern for my feelings. No matter how much effort I put into the house or cooking, my mother-in-law kept nitpicking. She never once praised me. One time, she brought vegetables that were almost expired. I used them for dinner, and she sighed dramatically, saying it was unacceptable to serve wilted vegetables to her son and herself. That's when I realized she just wanted to bully me. Frustrated, I talked to my father-in-law. I told him how hard it was to prepare meals for my mother-in-law and how stressful her unannounced visits were. He seemed surprised. I didn't know she was visiting so often. I thought she was going out to dinner with friends. "I'm so sorry, Lillian. It's not your fault," I said. "I've been giving her money for meals when she goes out, but it seems she hasn't been using it," he admitted. "Unfortunately, no," I replied. He apologized sincerely and promised to speak to her about it. I felt relieved, thinking the issue was resolved. But then my mother-in-law called me. "You're so rude, running to my husband to tattle like that," she shouted. "What? I wasn't tattling," I replied, shocked. "I've been checking on you out of kindness, and this is how you repay me? With ingratitude?" she said angrily. "That's not true. I wasn't repaying kindness with ingratitude," I protested. "You should be the one apologizing. It's bold of you to claim you're inconvenienced," my mother-in-law said. "I'm educating you where your upbringing was lacking. You should be grateful." "I understand what you're saying," I replied calmly, "but it's hard when you come over without notice. Should a mother need an appointment to visit her son's house? My parents wouldn't act like this." "You're so disrespectful," she snapped. "As a daughter-in-law, you should adapt to your husband's family's rules." No matter what I said, she got more heated, yelling so loudly I couldn't even understand her, and then hung up. I suspected she called while my father-in-law wasn't around, so I hesitated to tell him again, knowing it might not change anything. While her visits became slightly less frequent, they didn't stop. My husband, Easton, seemed happy to complain about work to her and soak up her sympathy. He had no intention of asking her to visit less often. Their bond only encouraged her, and they both started blaming me together. Lillian, you don't show enough respect to Mom, he said. That's right, Easton, tell her more, my mother-in-law added cheerfully. I'm earning the money, yet I only get a small allowance, he complained. That's terrible, what a horrible wife you have, she exclaimed. They both ate the meals I prepared while complaining about them and laughed together in the living room I had just cleaned. When I was washing dishes, my husband said, "At least prepare the bath," expecting me to ready everything, from the towels to his pajamas. My mother-in-law didn't correct him. Instead, she agreed, saying, "Poor thing, having such an inconsiderate wife." I turned to my father-in-law again, and he apologized profusely, but my mother-in-law's behavior didn't change. I was completely drained. Then one day, I realized that the necklace my mother had passed down to me was missing. I searched everywhere. When I asked Easton, he shrugged. "You probably lost it due to your carelessness," he said coldly. I knew I had kept it in my drawer. The truth came out when my mother-in-law visited during dinner. "Mother-in-law, that necklace," I began carefully. "Oh dear, how disgraceful to desire something someone else is wearing." Around her neck was the very necklace I had lost. Its unique design made it unmistakable. "Please give it back," I said firmly. "How awful. Are you accusing me of stealing from you?" she said, feigning shock. "Not only do you want someone else's belongings, but you also call them a thief? That shows how you were raised." With a smug smile, she teased me until I couldn't take it anymore and tried to grab her necklace. She screamed, just as my husband walked in. When he saw me, he pushed me hard, and I crashed into the wall, hurt. Standing over me with his arm around his mom, he said, "Mom told me you've been bullying her while I'm not around." "That's right, Easton, Lillian's terrible," my mother-in-law added, acting upset. "Listen," I begged, "that necklace she's wearing is the one I said I lost." "I don't want to hear your excuses," he snapped. "Mom, let's go out to eat. Lillian needs to think about what she did," my husband said. "Such a sweet boy, Easton is a good son," my mother-in-law said as they left together. I was shocked and angry. My necklace was gone, and my husband took his mom's side without listening to me. I was furious and decided to get back at them. That day, I talked to my father-in-law. He apologized and seemed fed up with my mother-in-law's behavior. This gave me an idea for revenge. The next time my mother-in-law came over uninvited, wearing the necklace, I pretended to forget something and asked her to watch the house for me. Normally, she'd refuse, but this time she agreed, saying, "Sure, take your time, you're always busy with housework." "Thanks," I said, "I'll be back in 30 minutes. I drove to the supermarket, my heart racing. If I could get proof of their actions, I could get revenge. Part of me still hoped they might change. I returned 30 minutes later and walked into the house with the shopping bags. I found my husband and mother-in-law already eating dinner. "You were late, so we started without you," my husband said casually. "Today's dinner is simple. Don't you feel bad for Mom?" "But I asked her to watch the house," I argued. "No more excuses, be careful next time," he snapped. I sighed, frustrated. I looked at the kitchen. The pot only had a few vegetables left. They hadn't even saved me any food. I realized they would never change. After cleaning up dinner, I checked the trap I'd set earlier. Sure enough, it had been triggered. My husband noticed and gave me a mocking smile, just like his mom showing off the necklace. I couldn't help but laugh. My plan for revenge was almost ready. On my husband's day off, my mother-in-law called me into the living room. She and my husband were acting excited, ready for their next scheme. I sat down, pretending to be clueless. "Why didn't you tell us?" my husband asked. "Tell you what?" I replied. "About the bank book. If you had that much money, you should have told us. Now you can share some of it with Mom," he said, smirking. "I don't know what you're talking about," I answered calmly. "Don't act dumb, we're talking about your bank book," he insisted. "Oh," I said, pretending to understand. They spread some papers on the table. "We bought a new two-family house, we're all moving in together," my husband said. "What do you mean?" I asked, confused. "You're so slow. We already signed the contract using the money from your bank book. It's easier to buy it all at once," he explained. "Why would you do that without asking me?" I asked. "Lillian, you don't like Mom, do you?" That's why you don't want to live together, my mother-in-law accused. Stop being rude to mom, my husband scolded. Who's being rude? Using my money without asking is disrespectful, I replied. People with bad manners always talk back, my mother-in-law sneered. I held back a laugh. They didn't know what was coming. We already signed the contract, so it's too late to change, my husband said smugly. By the way, this is shared property now, you can't complain. Did you check the name on the bank book? I asked casually. Their smiles froze. What do you mean? My husband asked nervously. I laughed, unable to hold it in. They checked the name on the bank book, and their faces went pale. What's going on? My husband stammered. It's exactly what it looks like, I said. Why is it in someone else's name? I never said it was mine. Did you steal Dad's bank book? Thief, my husband shouted. Thief? You're the ones who opened a locked drawer and took it. Who's the thief now? I shot back. You were hiding it, my mother-in-law accused. Is it okay to steal things that are important to someone? I guess that's how you were raised, I replied mockingly. Don't talk back to mom, my husband yelled. Do you know why father-in-law gave me the bank book? I asked. Why? They both said, confused. I explained. Father-in-law knew how much you've been spending and even took time off work for a vacation. Your boss called me, shocked, when I told him the truth. They exchanged nervous glances, realizing they were in trouble. The doorbell rang. It was my father-in-law. Why are you here? My husband asked, startled. I told you not to cause trouble for Lillian, my father-in-law said firmly. But she had your bank book, my husband argued. So what? Stop calling her she. I didn't raise you to be this rude. It's embarrassing. If you can't respect your wife, what's the point of being married? But she doesn't respect me, my husband protested. Are you serious? Lillian has worked hard to support this family while you and your mom treat her badly. I've let you do what you want with money, but this is too much. Do you really think this is acceptable? My father-in-law said. As my husband and mother-in-law tried to make excuses, my father-in-law shut them down. They were silent. Finally, my father-in-law said, I gave the bank book to Lillian as a payment for all the trouble you two caused her. Now you've stolen money to buy a house? What more should I do for you? Neither of them could say anything. My father-in-law took my mother-in-law home, and I grabbed the necklace from around her neck. My husband finally realized the truth and made his mother apologize. Once they left, I handed my husband the divorce papers. Why? He asked, still shaken. After everything, do you really think we can stay married? I said. But you're only mad at mom, he protested. No, I'm disgusted with you too, I replied. I won't agree to a divorce, he shouted. Then we'll go to court. Everything you and your mother did will come out. The video of you two breaking the lock and stealing the bank book? It'll be shown in court and to your company. He turned pale. You're lying. You're calling others thieves after doing that? What kind of upbringing leads to that? I teased. My husband couldn't argue anymore. You'll need to repay the $300,000 you stole from your dad, plus compensation and court fees, I added. What will you do? He muttered. Why are you so cruel? You still don't get it? Want another lecture from your father? I said. With no choice, he signed the divorce papers, and I was free. As for the stolen money, my father-in-law said I could keep it as both compensation for all the trouble and as a reward. Under his supervision, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law had to work hard to repay him 60 million yen. Later, I got an email from my ex-husband, begging for a second chance. I ignored and deleted it. Now that I was free from their stress, my health improved, and I started living life on my own terms, enjoying peace and freedom.